Season 4, Episode 53 of Bracket Bubbles and Bid Steelers, live from Atlantic City at the MAC tournament. I am Sam Butterman. That is Jonathan Litskin. Jonathan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Don't have quite the background you do, but I'm in Columbia, ready to go.
Yeah, today, as I've said, is these next 4 days are the 4 best days of basketball on the calendar. Quarterfinals across the country today, quarters and semis tomorrow, tickets being punched on Saturday and Sunday, and we figure out the bracket on Sunday at 6 o'clock on CBS. I'm so excited to see what we get there. We won't be blocking each other this year, Jonathan.
No, that did not work. Back to the drawing board we go.
Yeah, back to the drawing board we go to see if we have any unique thoughts this time around. We didn't last year. We ended up with the same Elite Eight and same Final Four and same championship after not speaking to each other for the 12 hours after the bracket came out. But tonight, we had some excellent basketball, a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't we start right here in Atlantic City?
Yeah, I was watching the end of the Ryder St. Peter's game.
So, Jonathan, and this is me asking you a question. How many timeout did Ryder have a timeout left? Did they tell you Ryder had a timeout left at the end of the game?
I didn't have the volume on, but I thought they did.
Yeah, I did too. The PA did as well. The scoreboard did. The scoreboard said they had a timeout left.
Mm-hmm.
But when I asked Kevin Baggett in the post-game press conference, did Ryder have a timeout? And why didn't they use their timeout? I was told by Kevin Baggett and a Ryder official that Ryder was not it was not communicated to Ryder that they had a timeout. Now, they asked 3 times to the book to check. It was on the board. So sometimes the board can be wrong and the book can be right. You go by the book. So as far as Ryder is concerned, they did not have a timeout, regardless of if they did or not. So
if they were told they didn't, it's not their fault if they did.
Yeah, and I do need to know whose fault it is, because this is a pretty big error, because TJ Weeks ended up hoisting up not a great shot at the end of the game, and St. Peter's is headed to the MAC semifinals. They'll take on Quinnipiac tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That should be a fun one. I want to see if Quinnipiac can speed up St. Peter's, if St. Peter's can slow down Quinnipiac.
My thoughts as well. And then Fairfield Marist is the other one, right?
Another clash of styles. Fairfield likes to run. Marist likes to slow the pace down.
Mm-hmm.
Should be 2 really fun basketball games, as well as the Fairfield women tomorrow at 11 a.m. So we're less than 11 hours away from Fairfield women's basketball. So I'm going to have to be glued to that.
Yeah, I saw you've been covering both. Obviously, Fairfield's women's team had a tremendous year and survived an upset the other day, right?
Yeah, yesterday? They survived at Ryder, yeah. So why don't we go? Why don't we go up the shore, up the Garden State Parkway, across the George Washington Bridge, and across the Triborough Bridge? Actually, that takes you into Queens. Across the Brooklyn Bridge into Brooklyn, because the A10 was absolutely bonkers today. All 4 top seeds took the L, Jonathan.
The city of New York had a fucking day and a half today. I mean, seeds 9, 5, 6, and 7 will play in the semis tomorrow in the A10 tournament. A rare case of we haven't even gotten to Friday, and we know we have a bid stealer already.
Yeah. There's a bid steal in the Atlantic 10 as Dayton is out. They're eliminated. Duquesne got that win at the Barclays Center. Jonathan, you probably had eyes on this one.
I had eyes on the first 3 quarterfinals, not the 4th one, actually. But
I was following this game. I couldn't watch it, but Nick was texting me about it, and Jimmy Clark had some huge plays down the stretch of this game. And Jimmy Clark is a guy that's he's an everyday guy for Duquesne. He does so much on the defensive end. He's their second scorer offensively behind Dede Grant. And Duquesne gutted out this win tonight. They got out to a lead, and they really stuck to it. Deron Holmes had 24 and 13, but it wasn't enough. 5 for 13 from the field. They held Enoch Cheeks 1 for 7, Kobe Elvis 2 for 8. But Dayton's still going to get in the NCAA tournament. That's going to happen. But who is going to win the A10? Who is going to be that bid stealer that we know is happening?
So, to answer the question, I'm not sure I trust St. Joe's to play consistent basketball like that for 2 more days. I mean, they tried really, really hard to blow that game against George Mason the other day, and then they scraped one out. I thought they played really well, and I thought Eric Reynolds played phenomenal today.
Superstar.
But I don't trust them enough to play like consistent basketball. Duquesne is a question mark, I think, because they don't have depth, and winning 4 in 4 days with their roster is tough.
4 and 5 days.
Or 4 and 5 days. I guess they do get the off day, but it's still a grind. And then you have Bonaventure, who I liked a lot in the preseason, and VCU. I think you can trust VCU will play the most consistent basketball, but it's just tough because like who knows what St. Joe's team they'll get in the semis on Saturday. I'll take VCU out of the four left.
Yeah, VCU is the team that I said this before the tournament started. I thought it was going to be Loyola and VCU in the final. I'll stick with VCU in the final, and I think they're going to win the A10 tournament because I think Ryan Odom is a terrific coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can win I think he's going to win a lot of basketball games for Virginia Commonwealth University. They have talent. They have great depth. They can shoot. They can pound the paint. They really pass the ball really well. All their guards. Joe Bamasil comes off the bench today and goes over 20 points. I just think VCU has what it takes, more so than maybe any other team in this conference remaining, to win the conference tournament. Now, that's, again, as you mentioned, what happens if Eric Reynolds shows up, drops 25, and Xavier Brown drops 18, and St. Joe's wins that game? Then I would probably have to bet against St. Joe's in the final because that would require 4 straight games of good basketball from Billy Lang's coach team, and I frankly don't trust Billy Lang to do that. If he does, if we're sitting here on our show Sunday night, which is probably our next show. No, we'll do a show on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think
Actually,
so.
no, we won't because I have to drive 2.5 hours back home.
All right, then.
We'll do a show maybe tomorrow night. Actually, no. We'll do a show Saturday midday.
That should work for me.
Either Saturday midday or Saturday morning.
Okay.
But we got to get back. We got to get to the bubble. We got to get to the bubble.
Where do you want to start?
Oh, hold on. Are they going to play? Hold on. I got to get in this. Yo, are we playing?
What is going on?
On live. This is going to be a show.
What are you doing?
We might be playing some basketball here.
Oh my god.
Jonathan, did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you grew about 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. I made that one. Not even. Nope. one more. Make one more shot, Sam, and then you can get back. There's a reason I write about basketball and don't play it. All right. All right. Somebody catch this. Is this an all-time brackets, bubbles, and bid Steelers moment or what?
I understand that, like, you're wearing a suit and all, but after watching that, I'm fairly certain I could outshoot you.
Yeah, your dad's the best shooting coach in the goddamn country. You better be able to outshoot me.
My dad would tell you that I am a complete failure as a shooter compared to some of the stuff
And what
he
do you
does.
think I am? I quit basketball in the 8th grade.
But I will say that if we're on the topic of basketball skills, I shoot typically between like 73, 75% from the free throw line, somewhere there.
No chance I can do that.
TJ just texted me and said, "Tell Fetterman he has a broke ass jumper."
Well, yeah, this is what you get when you stop playing basketball right before you're about to move your jump shot from here to here.
Yeah.
Look, I don't claim to be a good basketball player. I claim that I was a good basketball player in 2nd grade when I was the MVP of the Jewish Basketball League, but that was the peak of my athletic career. 10.9 points per game, league record. I believe it still stands today.
You're telling me the shots you just got up weren't the peak of your athletic career?
I was the Wilt Chamberlain of the JBL.
Oh my god.
I'm glad TJ's watching this.
Do we have a bubble to get to?
Pop. Who's bubble popped tonight? Honestly, I think it's
Villanova.
Indiana State.
Huh?
I think it's Indiana State.
Villanova, Indiana State, New Mexico's playing right now. Everyone won today. All the bubble teams won today.
Yeah, you know who else won today? Virginia, barely.
I watched that thing from start to finish.
You know what else? Oh yeah, go.
I feel pretty confident in saying that Virginia is the worst watch in the country. And I
don't know, man. You also watched St. Peter's tonight.
I was more enthused by that than I was with Virginia. I honestly don't know how much more I could watch of Jacob Groves in college basketball.
We just talked to David Riley last week. Don't crap on a Groves like that.
And he did a tremendous job with him, but I'm
the fact that Jacob Groves was that good.
You watch him at Virginia and you're like, okay, yeah, I see why they're a 10 seed.
David Riley than it does about Jacob Groves.
Yes. Oh my god. But yeah, I think Indiana State's probably done now. I'll see where the project of the morning, but St. John's wins, A&M wins, Providence wins.
How clear was the video on my shooting?
It was pretty clear.
I was kind of banking on it not.
Are you getting texts that you're just awful?
No, but I certainly will.
So yeah, Michigan State wins. Miss State wins.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
Pitt, St. John's.
We're 15 minutes into the show, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this.
You better try. Oh, Ohio State won too. I mean, it was just everything that could have gone wrong today for Indiana State felt like it did. Dude, where is he running off to? Did you just go grab a basketball?
I did. What? What are you gonna say now?
I'm texting TJ. Um,
Of course you are.
I, yeah, I feel like everything that could have gone wrong for Indiana State today did.
Yeah, and I look at Indiana State. I think they're a tournament caliber team, but I look at their resume, and as Kevin Sweeney mentioned on his podcast, and as all that stuff mentioned on all there, I look at Indiana State as a team that its resume is built on things it did in the Valley. The wins over Drake and Bradley. It didn't take it. It had opportunities against really good teams, but there's a reason those teams are really good. Michigan State and Alabama combined 28-6 at home. 2 of those wins were Indiana State. None of those losses were Indiana State. So Indiana State, look, they had a chance, but they weren't. It would have taken a really special performance to win those games. Yes, Robbie Avila didn't play in that.
It was the Alabama game.
Yeah, and Jason Kent wasn't available in the Southern Illinois and Illinois State games.
He missed the second half of the Illinois State game.
But at the end of the day, you want to be in the NCAA tournament as a Missouri Valley team that didn't win a quad 1 game outside of the Valley. Doesn't matter who's injured. Don't lose to Illinois State in a quad 4 home game.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
everyone has injuries. Everyone has those problems.
Yeah, are we gonna give? I don't know. Are we gonna give Marquette brownie points? Are we gonna give them an automatic 1 seed because Tyler Kolek didn't play the second game against UConn?
Nope. They figured out a way to definitely lock in a 2 seed tonight without him. So
yeah, absolutely. They're getting a 2 seed for sure. Pete from half court. Not gonna go. Pete, say hello to the show.
Putting me on Twitter live right here.
Yeah, this is Pete Janney. Welcome to Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers.
Fairfield's gonna win the final. I had against Ryder, but I don't know. St. Peter's a gritty team. I'm worried about Quinnipiac.
God, you sound like a coach talking after the game right now. St. Peter's a gritty. We're all tired. Welcome to the MAC.
Fairfield, lock it in though. Fairfield's going.
Fairfield, lock it in. That's what Pete says. Who are you texting now?
I'm looking at scores.
Okay.
Mug Magpio leads by 1 with 31 seconds to go in the half.
Is that the quarters or the semis?
Quarters.
Who are they playing?
Long Beach, who I believe fired their coach the other day.
Is Monson coaching right now?
Is who coaching?
Dan Monson, the head coach at Long Beach, who got fired.
I do not know.
Anyway.
What else you got?
What other games did you watch today?
Oh, dude, I watched everything.
Okay. Now we didn't.
TJ, dude, we see your comments.
You know what we didn't talk about yesterday?
What?
Kansas.
I mean, they're bad without their 2 best players. What else is there to it? McCullough is really important. Dickinson's really important. They combined to average what? Well, close to 40 points a game?
Yeah, how certain are we that those guys are going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament?
Not at all. I'm kind of concerned about it with Tyler Kolek too.
I'm concerned about it with Kolek. I felt Oso looked good tonight. Looks fine. But what I will say about everything that went on around college basketball. Oh, we got to get back to St. John's. St. John's is dangerous right now. As a UConn fan, I am scared of what St. John's is going to do to tomorrow.
I think St. John's can beat them. I think St. John's can beat them.
If I'm going to be honest with you, I think that St. John's is going to. Because this game really doesn't mean anything for UConn. It would mean everything to St. John's. It would be the St. John's program's "I'm back" moment.
Mm-hmm.
It would secure them not just in the NCAA tournament, it would get them out of Dayton. They wouldn't have to play a first 4 game. They would be a 10 seed. They would be a 10 seed if they won this game.
Yeah, I mean, beating UConn on a neutral floor, who's
Well,
arguably the best team in the country.
It's a home floor according to the net.
I mean, at the same time, UConn is just humming along right now.
Yeah, that second half was absurd.
I don't know who's stopping them right now.
Yeah, I mean, like if you
Obviously they're not unbeatable. No team in the history of the sport is, but right now, it's pretty clear to me that they're the best team in the country, and it has been for the last month or so.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought UConn's the best team in the country since Donovan.
Yeah,
it's been 2 months since
and they're healthy, which is like more important than anything.
UConn has lost once in the new year. It was at Creighton in an obvious letdown spot.
Yep.
Obvious letdown spot for UConn in that game, and they lost. They got killed. They got smacked. But every other game since the new year, they have won. They have dominated basically every single one of them. They killed Marquette not once. They killed Marquette twice. They killed Creighton at home. They went to Providence and were down 15-2 and won by 30. Who does that? That's the dunk. It's one of the toughest places to play in all of college basketball. And they dominated the final 35 minutes of that game like nobody ever could.
Mm-hmm.
Villanova was close, and then they played Villanova at UConn, and it was a blowout. This is the best team in college basketball. Look, Houston is a very close too. But I don't think they can make it 6 games without JoJo Tugler the way UConn can as a fully healthy unit.
I don't know if I'd dismiss Purdue as like the second best team like that.
Oh, no, Purdue's a very close number 3. Look, these teams are 29-3. Sorry, no, Purdue's 28-3. They haven't played their first Big Ten tournament game yet.
Yeah, they got to
play tomorrow against Michigan State, right?
Yeah, first game of the tournament tomorrow.
And for Michigan State, by the way, a win in that game would mean they could be a 9 seed or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe an 8.
An 8 would be a stretch. An 8 would be a little bit of a stretch.
I believe that UConn, Purdue, and Houston, all 3 of them are better than any team we had in the country last year.
Absolutely agree with that statement right there. I don't really think you can even argue it. UConn last year was really good. UConn last year was not as good as UConn this year. And that's saying something considering they lost 3 NBA. Look, I'll say this. In my USBWA ballot, I voted for Dan Hurley as National Coach of the Year. I was thinking about doing Danny Sprinkle. I was thinking about doing a variety of different coaches throughout the year. Amir Abdur-Rahim was at the top of my list for a very long time. I voted for Dan Hurley. Just considering the fact that they lost 3 NBA players and 2 bench shooters, replaced them with a bunch of with 1 transfer, a bunch of freshmen, and Samson Johnson coming back. It's nuts how good this UConn team is. They are the best team in the country. They've looked it for such a long time. Tristan Newton is an All-American. Cam Spencer. Okay. Confirmed. Ryder had 1 final timeout that they did not. Hold on 1 sec. Ryder had 1 last timeout. They didn't know about it because they were told they didn't have one. That's a fuck up.
Someone screwed up.
It's a fuck up. It's a fuck up, and it cost Ryder potentially its season. And that sucks. Because that's a senior laden team. That's TJ Weeks, Corey McKeithen. Corey McKeithen has one more year. Alan Powell is done. Mervyn James is done. Tariq Ingram, I believe, is done. That's a senior laden roster that they got fucked. Look, there's no guarantee that they would have won this game because they still had to call the timeout and create a shot. But I would bet they'd get a better shot than what they did get.
Yeah.
It's got to be really frustrating. No, I didn't ask the guy. No, there's people sitting. The other writers are sitting on the other side of the floor.
Sounds like they love you.
Just got a text. Y'all can't go on during Inside the NBA. And he's like, he watches Inside the NBA religiously, so that's a compliment to us.
Great.
Anyway.
Anything else?
A lot more. There was a lot more basketball.
I know. That's why I'm asking. I don't know how much you saw today.
I didn't see a ton, but I was following scores all day. Look. Shall we talk about...
Ohio State's going to beat Illinois tomorrow.
Oh, no doubt. And they're gonna make the tournament. They're what, last four in right now? First four out right now?
I would imagine they're close to there, depending on who you ask. I just they've been like, what does Diebler have to do here to get the interim
tag taken off?
Yeah,
make the NCAA tournament.
I mean, that probably requires them winning one or two more games, I would imagine.
If they win two, they're in. If they win three, they're the auto bid.
Yeah.
If they win two, they're in. If they win one, they should be in.
I don't know. It just kind of feels like...
I think they should be in regardless. I saw them on Sunday at Rutgers. So impressive.
I just kind of think that, like...
It wasn't even their best game either, and they just kicked ass.
We kind of do this...
left without doing a press conference.
It feels like we do this with one team every year, where it's like, yeah, like, they're right there, but, like, they need to win this game, and, like, then they don't, and they're like, no, they don't really have a shot.
But my thought process is this one is different because they fired their coach. There's a clear difference in everything around that team with Jake Diebler running the show than with Chris Holtman.
They also just have a ton of talent.
Are we going to talk at all about the carousel today? Because I think we can.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Because I was wondering if you wanted to save this for Sage on Monday.
Oh, yeah, we can. I've, like, honestly, like, completely forgot about that.
That's going to be a fun show. I'm thinking about 9-ish.
PM?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, AM is a no-go for me.
Of course not.
Yeah, 9 p.m. works.
I'm in class.
As am I. We'll be looking at the bracket.
We will. We'll be looking at the bracket quite soon. But
we'll have the bracket memorized by then, if we're being honest.
We'll have our brackets memorized by then.
Yeah.
We'll also have the NIT bracket memorized. So I'm wondering, with the net in the NIT, is that Selection Sunday morning net?
I don't know.
Because, like, there's games on Selection Sunday.
Correct. Not many, but there are games.
They can't do that. See you tomorrow. They
well,
can't.
The NIT's picked, like, Sunday night after the tournament's done, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's the top two teams from which, by the way, the new auto bids for the NIT are the top two net teams from each power conference that didn't make the NCAA. Ridiculous. The worst rule in sports. Everyone says the worst rule in sports is that pylon fumble out of the end zone rule. That rule doesn't suck. That rule doesn't suck at all. The worst rule in sports is that the NIT auto bids are now going to power conference teams. I sell you this. I do not care about Ole Miss in the NIT. You know who else doesn't care about Ole Miss in the NIT?
Ole Miss.
Chris Beard, apparently. They said they would reject an invitation.
They said that? I saw Penny Hardaway said that.
I'm pretty sure Ole Miss said that.
Okay, well, I saw Penny Hardaway say it, and I'm just like,
NIT.
Who the hell do they think they are?
What the fuck is going on in our comment section?
Dude, I turned the chat off, and I can't do this anymore.
What the fuck is going on there?
Do I want to read these?
I have missed the.
I have missed the past 4 seasons and 50. What does that even mean?
He's missed every episode.
All right. I'll catch everyone up real quick. Zvonimir Ivasic, Johnny Furphy, Caleb Brill.
Hold on.
Tyler Self now works somewhere.
Burns Financial Group. Taman Lipsy is the closest thing this sport has to Desmond Ritter.
Yes.
Fear the Phoenix, celebrate the champions. Valley update. Oh, quick Valley update.
I mean, I thought we kind of gave the Valley update.
Dana Ford.
Oh, you want to go? I thought you were waiting for Monday for carousel stuff.
I was like, do you want to wait for Monday? And I was like, I'm fine talking about it right now.
Okay. I mean, Ben McCollum should be your guy. Like
Southern Illinois.
Such a bad firing, man.
I agree. We'll get more into that on Monday. But that's a fun show. Curry Hicks Sage is going to be joining.
If Southern Illinois really hires Kyle Smith-Peters to replace Brian Mullins, that's a colossal mistake.
I don't understand why they would do that.
And then, honestly, like, why won't UIC go hire Mullins? Chicagoland area ties.
AAU ties in Chicago are
clearly raises your floor as a program.
Yeah. I think that would be an excellent hire for UIC.
I think it'd be a slam dunk. I don't really
slam dunk.
I understand it with Ford because I understand it with Dana because
no, Dana, I agree with the fire.
They needed to. It's not. I don't think it had so much to do with this coaching as it did. Like they needed to reignite that fan base.
Whole squad played knockout. Podcast. Oh, podcast. More important.
But I thought Yaklich and Mullins were premature.
If you saw me shoot over here, I would have lost.
Oh, nah, but you probably should just.
Oh, come on.
You're a disaster.
Now, we don't have much time. I got to get out of here.
UT Arlington's up 22.
That's our UT Arlington team right there.
Colorado up 5, New Mexico up 9.
Providence is in the NCAA tournament.
Providence is in the NCAA tournament. St. John's, I believe, will be in the NCAA tournament, but that's not like 100%.
And Villanova will not be.
Is there still a chance that like we get 3 Big East teams in the first 4?
Who would be the third?
Seton Hall.
Would St. John's be in the first 4?
I would think so.
I don't think St. John's is going to be in the first 4.
You think that they've played their way out of it?
I think that they're above Seton Hall and Providence. And I don't think they'll put 3 Big East teams in the first 4. So I think that you'll get St. John's out of the first 4.
Okay.
Just off the top of my they're the most, especially if they beat UConn. If they beat UConn, there are no chance in the first 4.
Mm-hmm.
Seton Hall, it's going to be a sweat. I think they get in. but it's definitely going to be a sweat.
Yeah.
Washington State got a win over Stanford tonight. Marist over Niagara. That was another good game. Niagara was up 15. Marist came back. Jaden Collins was terrific. The freshman, Rutgers Prep, Edison, New Jersey. UT Arlington is up big. Colorado is up on Utah. Colorado with a win today could probably give themselves a tournament berth, or a chance to be in the, or a play in at least tomorrow to the NCAA tournament. And at that point, it would be really tough for Seton Hall to get in.
Yeah. I think Seton Hall is going to get in.
I'm not so sure.
I think their wins are good enough.
I think, look, New Mexico is currently up 9 at halftime against Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
New Mexico wins that game. I think they get in.
I would imagine.
I think New Mexico is better than Seton Hall.
You've done more bracketology than me. I don't know how much room there is for like these teams. Because like FAU still has to win 3 games to like prevent another bid steal.
That's the one thing. FAU, they're a lock, but they do have to win 3 to prevent the bid steal. But it's a built-in bid steal.
Yes.
So it's actually a bid game if FAU does win, which I think they will, by the way.
I agree. I agree because I thought Memphis was going to win.
I didn't think Memphis was going to win. I just picked Memphis into Jerome.
I actually thought Memphis was going to win.
Well, then you were dead wrong. Not blaming you. I've been wrong before.
No, I was. I do have a plus 500 ticket on South Florida to win the tournament, which I feel a lot better about now.
Do you know what we now need to talk about, though?
What do we now need to talk about?
The Duke Blue Devils.
You want to start this one or me?
It's your team. You have the floor.
How do I put this? Duke has no isolation creators because Proctor isn't an isolation creator right now. McCain's not an isolation creator right now. And Jeremy Roach has been an isolation creator in the past, but still looks like he has lost some mobility from being hurt. This team's rim protection, I think is a problem. I think we've kind of acknowledged that all year. I know the statistics say they're like 116th or whatever, but that's 7th, and it's a middle of the pack ACC team in terms of rim protection. I think it's probably good that they're having this meeting when they get back to campus tonight. I just don't know how much
players only meeting watch.
I just don't know how much good it's going to do because I think that this team's ceiling has been vastly overstated for the last month.
Yeah, I saw them in Madison Square Garden. I thought it was great. I didn't ever think they were a top 5 team in the country watching them at Madison Square Garden. I think they could get to a second weekend next week. I think they could get to an Elite 8. I think they could maybe even get to a Final Four with a great draw. But I have stood firm since like the start of December that this team isn't a national championship caliber team. Yeah. I think there's 3 national championship caliber teams. Maybe 4 if you want to say Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah.
Well, okay, Tennessee is a national championship caliber team, but they're not going to win the national championship. That fair?
Yeah. What would you say is preventing UNC from being a national championship caliber team?
It's a good point. I would say UNC is up there.
If there is something that you had to point out, though, what would it be?
I don't think their coach is as good as the other 4.
I agree with that. I also think that like they lack some consistency off the bench.
I
Like
also don't think Armando Bacot is all that great.
I think UNC is pretty balanced. I think they defend at a pretty high level. I just like I
They're
think they
really good. They're really good. I know we called them a paper tiger back in January because they were. They were never the third best team in the country.
and they
But
still aren't.
at the end of the day, North Carolina is the fifth best team in the country right now. It's pretty clear to both of us, correct? Arizona, Iowa State, whatever. That they're after that. Marquette, Creighton.
I just do you think that I've gotten some shit for this lately. Do you think Elliot Cadeau being a reclass freshman point guard for them and handling the ball for them in an NCAA tournament setting could end up being a problem?
I don't think it won't be a problem.
I just I just kind of, and granted there are not very many of them, but like the history of like reclass point guards and like freshman point guards in this tournament is not good. Like as much as like he's not like he's a 20% usage rate. That's third highest on their team.
Look, he's also he's the age of a normal freshman. So, but then again, we've had our issues with freshman point guards. We don't trust freshman point guards. We picked against Purdue. We both thought they were going to lose to Memphis.
How many starting freshman point guards got to the second weekend last year? Not to say that UNC won't, but how many freshman point guards got to the second weekend last year?
Off the top of my head, I can't name one.
That started because Jaden Bradley didn't start at the end of the year.
Yeah, no, he didn't. Jake
Tyrese didn't. Proctor didn't. Illinois didn't.
Illinois also didn't make the second weekend.
No. That's what I'm saying. Illinois didn't make the second weekend.
Arkansas didn't start their freshman. Arkansas was actually very
Anthony
old.
Black.
Yeah, but like they also had Devo Davis in the backcourt, who was like a 7-year player.
I don't know. I think that's the one. I think that's the one I would count. And Arkansas
they had so many other guards that it didn't
Arkansas
really
got to play a team in this. Arkansas also got to play a team in the second round that didn't have their coach.
But like I also thought Arkansas had so many guards regardless between Council and Davis and all that it didn't really end up mattering.
If you go back and look last year, Anthony Black was 22% usage. Ricky Council was 24%. Devo Davis was 19%.
Didn't they have one other guard that I'm
and Nick Smith, when he was on the floor, was 26%.
Yeah, but he didn't play all that much.
Nah, he was hurt for half the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to say like I don't want to give off the idea that Elliot Cadeau's untrustworthy, but it's a new setting for these guys.
I think he's good enough to offset. Like I think he's good. I think he's a great freshman. I don't think he's a great player right now. I think.
Yeah.
I just don't see Elliot Cadeau as a guy that's going to take North Carolina to the next level.
I agree. That's why we play the games.
All right, Jonathan. You know what time it is.
Yeah, I think if you
I think you have a layup this time.
Huh?
I think you have a layup in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, if you came here to hear about Tyler Self's job and where he's currently working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about Sam Fetterman's broke jump shot, you definitely came to the right place, as he went like 2 of 19.
I made 3.
You did make a 3, and then if you came
I
to
did
hear
not
about
make I made 3 shots.
if you came to hear about Caleb Grill, it might be a little more difficult now because his season's over. But you still came to the right place if you wanted to hear about his life and what he's up to.
What
So
is he
yeah,
up
this is Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealer season 4, episode 53. We'll probably see
By
you.
the way, I feel so bad for anybody listening to this one on podcast form.
Yeah, just with the stadium noise and you going to shoot and
How bad was the stadium noise?
not that bad.
So you think we could do it again tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right, guys, from the MAC tournament from Atlantic City. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Adios.